What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? It's BKG back in the house for another banger. It is episode 14. Episode 14. Y'all realize how many hours we've now spent together hanging out with some of the best personalities and hosts in the community. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat, everybody who's made it, everybody who waited, who got here early, waited that extra hour. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We are very excited. I've been excited for each and every guest because I feel like at each and every time it's been a different milestone. Like Papa was the first person we had on the show. I was super nervous having Hogston because of being such a big fan. Even back to Dutchy, 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀, someone that we're always watching the back of his bumper. But today, I'll tell you what, we've hit a new milestone. We have somebody who has inspired me very directly. I know he's inspired some of you guys very directly. He takes a lot of pride in his community, a lot of pride in his family. He's one of our Gran Turismo heroes. If there was a Mount Rushmore, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have Rory Alexander on the top. So without further ado, here he is. What's up, sir? How are you doing?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for coming on today. Thank you for going through the whole circus act of getting in and out of the chairs, man. I know it's quite the production, but we try to aim to please here.
That's nice. I'm not used to something being so professional, to be honest. So not a problem at all. Yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm a big fan of what you do. Yeah, there's quite a few people who probably want me to do a podcast, but it's about who you want to do podcasts with. And you and what you're doing here is something I wanted to be a part of. So thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. I'm smiling ear to ear because, like I said, man, you're kind of like one of my heroes. It's awesome to be able to talk with you behind the scenes and be able to get to know you as the person, the human side to you. And that's one of the reasons why I started this whole thing, is because the stories behind the channels matter to me, and I think your story is super inspirational. Getting to know you a little bit and kind of figuring out what makes you tick. I think we all know that it starts with your family, and but you put a lot of work into this community. What would you say is like the driving force behind the channel right now?
It's kind of the same as it always has been. You know, I feel like my back's against the wall with this, and you know, this is the one chance that I've got to make a difference for, you know, my family, for me, and on another, you know, sort of like something that I'm learning about more and more is that I can make an impact with other people, and I can leave this earth in a better place than I left it, than I entered it in, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's it for me. Is you know, just trying to do the best I can, and trying to leave the, you know, the best legacy I can for my family and for anyone who I'm lucky enough to have watching.
I think you do that very well. I think the biggest thing that brings a lot of us, and we were talking earlier, and I think we hit a trigger point. Like, you inspire dads. I mean, first and foremost, like a lot of us are doing this for different reasons at different times of the day. You always seem to be, whenever the kids are out of the house, whenever the boys are out of the house. I think Aaron's out working. You're at home putting in work, trying to grind so that you could be present as possible with your family. That's a big thing that I struggle with, is how to manage, you know, what I'm doing for a living with why I'm living. And, you know, I just want to shout out to your family and kind of give you a time to say hi to your family. We've got some pictures here of your beautiful wife.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, very lucky on that front. To be honest, I'm punching well above my weight on that one.
I'm sure she'd be glad to hear it. You got your two boys, Max and Freddie, right?
Yeah. My two, two little boys who have run me absolutely ragged today. Erin's away on a hen do, or a bachelorette party, as you Americans would call it. So yeah, it's been a fun-filled day. It's quite funny. It it sort of shows the difference between me and real YouTubers, right? So if we look at Jimmy Broadbent and Steve Super GT, what they've been doing today, they've been racing in a real car at the Nürburgring 24, doing the 4 hour race. It's not the 24. Today, I've been to two swimming lessons. I've been to the farm. I've been to a birthday party. I've been to soft play, and I've just got back from Pizza Express, or Pizza World as we call it. So yeah, it's very, very different.
I get it, man. And trying to manage all the family, like we have kind of like the mask we wear, I guess, online, where everything's just kind of all about the game. It's all about the stream, the community. And as soon as we get off, like I feel like as soon as I take the headphones off, then it's like I got this kiddo right here asking me for this thing. I got to go do some coloring. I got to get baths done, some laundry done. I got to help Misa with the dinner, cleaning up the house, getting all that stuff done. And then I kind of get to go back and jump back on the channel. So the dad life is real, man. You definitely, I like watching the Instagram, and I like seeing, I was scrolling back through some of your posts, and just how you've brought the community into some of those family things that are happening, like the birth of your son, and actually the birth of both of your sons over the last 5 years. How long have you been streaming, and kind of how has that played out as a role in the last 5 or 6 years?
Well, I think kind of like I think we discussed it earlier. It was 2018. I think June 2018. I started the my first video was in January 2018. My first stream was in June 2018. After having like the inception, the idea of it back in 2017, in October 2017, on my honeymoon. So yeah, but it's been a long road. It's taken kind of various courses. It's obviously got a little bit more serious. But yeah, my first stream, as we were talking about earlier, had 28 likes. I think it. How many views did we say it had? Like 100 views, and it was an hour and 10 minutes long.
Man,
So yeah, we've come a long way.
come a long way, because now you're Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
right? You've set a schedule. Everybody knows it's Rory time. And I think some people actually set their streaming schedule to when you're not on, so that, you know, they could share some of the viewership.
Yeah, I still do that though. I get it, right?
It's
We used to all stream on a Monday night, back in the day, but Steve Super GT was on, and everyone would just get absolutely mullered. by him. And even now I feel it. Like even now, if Super GT or any of the guys, you know, who stream sort of the similar same time as me, it's definitely, you can definitely feel the impact of it. So yeah, that never goes away. I wish I could say it does, but it never goes away, guys. I'm afraid all you budding streamers out there.
I think even as a viewer though, for me though, because I like when multiple people are on. Like when I jump on and there's like 8 channels live, it's fun to hop around and kind of see who's jumping around and, you know, who's doing what. Like this morning I sat and I watched 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀 for probably at least an hour just getting ready for Manu, and then actually felt bad because I sent him a dono and he spun out and everybody was griping at Viking and say no donos except for on the straights. But well, I like when there's a variety. Yeah, it just happened. I felt so bad, so like for the next race I hung on and then I sent the dono when he got to the straight, and it was funny because we were like making a dono window and then closing the dono window. So I feel bad sometimes, you know, when the chat distracts me from the race, but you actually are probably the master of keeping chat engaged and actually racing. We were talking a little bit about you. How do you prioritize racing and chatting?
Yeah, you guys come first. That's it. I've been lucky enough to be around a lot of esports guys, the best guys in the world. Sorry, I was just looking down at my monitor here. These are my 2 boys who are sleeping right now.
Nice.
So sorry if I am looking all the way like down. It's not because I'm looking at notes or anything. It's because I want to make sure that my boys are still breathing and they're not asking for daddy, as Erin is away. So apologies for that.
The daddy duties don't stop. They never do.
It never stops. Never stops. The way I'd put it is the best drivers don't make the best streamers or best content creators or most, you know, successful YouTubers, as it were. If they were, you know, the top guys in the world would have the biggest channels, right?
Right.
But I'm not in that game. I'm not in that game to win everything. I'm in that game to grow a YouTube channel which sustains, you know, my family. So I almost, you know, you guys come first. It doesn't matter if I crash into the wall a million times. It matters to me emotionally because I have a pressure on myself to do better. But yeah, no, you guys come first. Without you, there is nothing. So that's the foundation, and that's where it all starts for me.
And has it always like been that way for you? Has it always been about the community, or did it start about the game and then the community made it possible? Because I know you jumped around a few different games, and I'm wondering if like the Gran Turismo community played an impact on like your decision to solely focus on this game right now.
It's always been about the community. Everything about YouTube is about the community. If you don't have a community and you can't grow an audience, then you're not going to get very far. And I'm going to be back in the real world before I can, you know, before I can blink. So those guys and you guys are definitely a massive, you know, the #1 priority. But around different games, I kind of have had a kind of realization as things have got bigger. You think, I see a lot of people when they get bigger, they take their foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe I read that wrong. I don't know. They get distracted. They go on to do other things. For me, I feel the pressure even more to continue because like I've come this far. I've come further than I ever have done or ever thought I could do. So there's more for me to lose if it goes wrong. And 100% of me is the only way I'm going to survive doing this. 75% of me on Gran Turismo is not good enough. It's not going to be better than 100% of someone else. Gran Turismo is the biggest franchise, sim racing franchise in the world. It's sold over 100 million copies, I think it has done.
Wow.
And also, probably the most important thing is it's part of my life. It is something I was doing in 1997 with my cousin, doing the 24-hour races. It's my favorite game. It's my favorite franchise, and it's literally in my blood. A lot of people get tribal about it, and I'm one of those people. And to have the foothold that I do, you know, the recipe just somehow has worked in my favor. I'm just so lucky that what I do works, and all the ingredients of what I do, you know, the way I am, the family situation I have, the speed that I have, all these play a part to give me some sort of footing in this Gran Turismo world. So I can't look the gift horse in the mouth. And yeah, I've got to give it 100%. That's the only way I'm going to survive.
And you're known for like your Triple Crown race on Friday, and I feel like you figured out like the Triple Crown in life, how to keep like a happy wife, a good life, and being able to do what you love. And it sounds like, you know, you genuinely love the game, you genuinely love the community. I see it come from you. I mean, I really got hooked, I think, and invested. I was telling you like how I started. I was DIY guy in the beginning. I was trying to do a channel like RC cars, and I came across you because me and my son, we bought a rig and we just wanted to play like the real deal games. We wanted to get away from the Need for Speeds and, you know, kind of the Crew 2 even. We were playing a lot of that. We're like, well, let's try to get real racing. So we got a Thrustmaster like T80 on a playtime seat. And I'm telling you, like that first night sitting in that thing, we all tried it. We had like weights on it to keep it held down and stuff. We all tried it. We're all playing. And then the guy had bought it up. He was like, you should Google, you know, sim racing. I didn't even know it was a thing. And when I did that, you had popped up. And it was crazy. Like we clicked on it, we were looking at it, and I think it was probably because we Googled like Gran Turismo and sim racing, and it all just, the algorithm worked, and you were the first person we watched. So at first it was just like, here, I got to watch this guy to learn. But the coolest thing was I like to watch it with my son. And that's one of the things about your channel is, you know, being family first and having those morals and kind of doing the dad thing. Not that everybody has to do that, but for us dads that are sitting here with the little one, I mean, it means a lot to us that you have those moralities about your channel and that you carry yourself that way. So I just want to say kudos to you, and, you know, shout out to all the dads that are out there that are trying to double task.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's weird, you know, because if I reverse engineered, you know, where I was now and I could look back, I'd be like, right, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. And somehow I have landed on this like perfect recipe, as I said a moment ago about, you know, the fact that I decided I wouldn't swear. You know, that's resonated with some people. The fact that I, you know, don't react to stuff because, and the reason I say it is because the most stressful thing in my life is getting my boys to school on time, getting them bathed and in bed on time. That, you know what, we all know, like the dads out there will know when, you know, when the wife's away, or, you know, if you find yourself in a situation where you're doing these things by yourself, the stress of those situations pales in comparison to, you know, being rammed off the track. Like that doesn't matter, you know. Wait till those guys have to put two boys to bed. That they're not going to react very well when the real sort of life stuff smacks them in the face. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just very lucky that everything has worked out the way it has, to be honest, Travis.
So speaking of like the real world, you raced out of the UK. You've been, you know, basically around the London area your whole life, more specifically in Guildford, which you said is like 30 miles south of London. But you did work in London for like 15 years, you said. What was life like before sim racing?
Pretty miserable. I thought I was happy. I clearly wasn't happy. I think I had like a midlife crisis at 30ish, something like that, which I'm so grateful for. A lot of people have probably heard this story before, but so my dad owns his own sort of building company. My father-in-law, Erin's dad, was a director at the first job I ever had. So I was going out with this girl at university. Her mum worked at this housing association we have in the UK, so like a council type thing, or, you know, I don't know what you would call it in the US.
Yeah, I think we said it was like HUD housing was the kind of the similar.
Yeah, like the state, right? I'd go and work for the state, and yeah, I kind of I the relationship that I had with the girl who got me the job, whose mum got me the job, kind of that fizzled out as things do, and yeah, I met my wife in the call center, which is quite funny, and I thought for some reason that, you know, my dad and my father-in-law would, you know, love and like me more if I was a director like they were. So I worked so hard to get to a director role, and I got there, and the view was not where I wanted it. I was not impressed. I thought, is this it? You know, is this life now till I'm 65 and you know, just dealing with rubbish all the time? And I thought I'd be playing golf on a Wednesday and everything would be great and everyone would worship like the ground that I walk on. But when I told my dad and I told my father-in-law, they couldn't care less. Not in a bad way, but I worked out that they loved me anyway. regardless of my title in the professional world or anything like that. And it got me thinking, oh wow, I've got to make a change here. There's got to be more to life than this. Um, so yeah, that's where the sim racing stuff got way more serious.
So did you just say, like, did you target sim racing? Was it I need a change, or did it somehow kind of like grow into your life? I see we're gonna check out the rig progress as you kind of tell us how this became, such a huge deal to you.
So I'd always been the guy. As I said, I played Gran Turismo way back when I first started with my cousin. We used to do the 24-hour races. I used to absolutely love it. Um, and then I kind of fell out of it because I played Gran Turismo 1, 2, 3, and 4. I fell out of it because I didn't like the AI side of stuff. Where, even now, like the AI, they're like on rails. And, if you get in the way of them, they're just going to drive straight through you. And it's just a rabbit chase every single time.
Yeah, and it doesn't have that same feeling like I'm
No,
competing against somebody. It's just a
no,
computer reading my code.
exactly. So I completely fell out of it. And fast forward a few years, I went to university and I started playing Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty. And the thing I loved about it was I could outsmart and be outsmarted by other humans. I loved the online element of it. Like I spent hours and hours and hours and days and days, like in a clan with my friends. We had our own like clan tag, and we'd all do it every night, and it was great. And then um, I was on I was on honeymoon. Um, Obviously, after I got married in a place called Nusa Lembongan in Bali. I've actually given you the photo of the pool that I was around when I found a Gran Turismo video, and it must have been Gran Turismo 6 or like maybe something for Gran Turismo Sport. Maybe someone had early access to something. I think it was one of Super GT's videos, and I was like, wow, the graphics look great now. Yeah, I'd completely forgotten about it. The graphics look great, and they're all online now. We can race other people. This is amazing. And I'd always been quite entrepreneurial. You're probably thinking, of course, Rory, now, a few years down the line. But I was always quite entrepreneurial, and I thought I'm going to give this a go. I like tech. I like the idea of creating stuff. I like telling stories. I like having conversations, and I love racing. So I thought I'd make a couple of videos. Um, and yeah, things kind of just snowballed really. And then it kind of crossed paths with a time in my life that I had my midlife crisis, which was about 2020, 2021. Um, and then, yeah, just kind of went for it when Gran Turismo 7 came out, really.
Dang. Yeah, I've gone back and kind of watched some of your more editorial videos and kind of back in the day, and it seems like we all have, even for me just being here for this, I'm going into a year, I guess you'd say, in a month or two. So less than a year, but a lot of things have changed, and it's really cool when you see somebody come up with kind of a new idea. And I feel like at first I was trying to put all kinds of bells and whistles and the numbers and tickers and everything. And then I realized, like, the more I took away and made it just more about me, you, and the game, it kind of seemed to find its momentum a little bit. So how do you handle the stress and the scheduling a little bit? We were talking to 𝙃𝘼𝙀 last week about kind of building a regiment based off of kind of some of the things that you've said, and whether it's waking up and doing this or that. How do you kind of manage all that?
What, in terms of like family stuff as
Well,
well, or just getting it all done?
well, what your process is now for like a daily week in the life of Rory and streaming, like how does that work?
Okay, so it all starts on a Monday morning. So I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning. The boys get up at 6, between 6 and 6:30. So that gives me and my wife a hour window to do some stuff. So what we'll do is I will do a short every single day. That's a non-negotiable to me. I get up, I go down. On the way downstairs, I'll turn the PC on. So by the time I've hit the coffee machine, come back up, the PC is ready to go. Um, I will then do a short and schedule all of that. If it's like a Monday, then obviously I wait and sort of hang around after. I sort of nip upstairs once the boys, during the time that the boys are getting ready for school, see what the daily races are. They go to school probably about 7:30. I will then schedule the stream. I'll do then the stream. I will then grab the best race possible, create a story about it, release that on Tuesday. Now I'll do a short every single day, and I'll do like a big swing, if we call it, because daily races are like match of the day or NFL roundup or college football final. Is that what it is? Is it college football final? Basically, like a match of the day type. They have a roundup of all the games. You're not
Right.
going to watch last week's or the 2 weeks ago's college football final.
Yeah, you're not going to watch the whole game. You want to catch the highlights, though.
Yeah. So, but you're not going to watch it from, if you're in week 10, you're not going to watch week 8's highlights. So the point I'm trying to make is the Gran Turismo daily races are on obviously a weekly schedule. So after that week is done, no one's interested. So I need to get a daily race video out ASAP, make it a great story, and get it out there, because come Sunday it's going to be dead. Like the views kind of go up like this, and then they stop and go like that. And then that's where these big swings come in, or evergreen videos. So like my tuning videos, or a challenge video, or a video with Erin in it. Something that's going to keep going regardless of what daily races are out. And that's kind of the strategy behind it, really.
So do you ever get burnt out with like daily racing, or have you found, kind of your rhythm?
Oh yeah. I live in probably a constant state of burnout, but I've got two options. Either do it or I don't. If I don't do it, someone else will do it.
So where was the mentality behind the 28 hours and the 200 laps at Nordschleife? Like when you did that, how was that just something that popped into your head? Was it recommended, or was it just the next big thing?
No. So Super GT's done it before. So when Super GT did it, I was mulling about doing it for so long, and I just didn't do it. And he did it, and I kicked myself for it. And I was like, I'm not gonna I can't, like, the feeling of that was like, I can't let that happen again.
Like that was my idea. Dang it.
Well, yeah. But it's like this guy is, that's why he's the best at what he does, because he was more prepared to do it than me. I didn't fancy it, and he did. So I said to myself, I would never let that happen again, and that's it. I feel like my back's against the wall with this sort of stuff, and I have, if I win, the entire team wins. And when I say the entire team, I mean Erin, Freddie, and Max. So I leave no stone unturned. I finish stuff when it's done. I do stuff regardless of how I feel. I've learned that the harder it is, the bigger the payoff the other side of it. So I just get started on it. And I pride myself on, when I want to give up, that's where you make those hard yards, because I know that's where 99% of people are going to give up, is when I want to give up, because we're all human. That is where I make the ground, is where I keep going.
Amen.
After I'm done.
Yes, well said. Well said. I remember I think I spent probably somewhere between 6 to 8 hours with you on that stream, as much as I could. I remember coming in lap like 36, and I think I fell asleep at about lap 162. And I remember just like saying, man, like, take care of your mental, rest your eyes, like try to give you, I didn't know you for nothing, but was just like, man, I'm really starting to care about this guy. There was times where you really looked like you were going to just give in. And I can imagine those were the moments where maybe you had to look over and, see Erin or see the family, because I'm sure they were, pushing you to complete that. That was 28 straight hours. Like, what was the recovery for that?
It was fun. I was at a kid's birthday. I picked the boys up from school. It was really weird. I picked the boys up from school after I finished at 2. I probably had a 2-hour nap. I picked the boys up at 5:30, and it was a Friday, and then the Saturday I was at a kid's birthday party. So I was actually somehow fine. I don't know. I'm a bit like, I think I'm a bit autistic in some ways, and I've got very like sort of black and white thinking. Like, I either do it or I don't, and there's no in between with me. It's one of the biggest things that me and Erin argue about. It's either I do it or I don't. Is there anything physically stopping me from doing this? No, you know, we talk about like the ice bath stuff, and it's like, how do you know someone takes an ice bath? It's because they'll tell you about it all the time.
That
So,
seems to be a good topic. I feel like for weeks, every time I jumped into your stream, because I wake up in the morning. When I work now, I work on site, so I wake up and it's like the perfect time to jump on. And then, I mean, Monday, Wednesdays, you're always on, so I just throw it on. I kind of get ready, and it seems to always be like the topic discussion. Like you getting your times up there on the ice baths, and I think we had a couple of conversations where people like you should ice before your heat or after your heat. I've always gotten in my ice and then got my heat because I know I'm like super tense and all those things. But you said that your gym has like the actual ice bath.
Yeah. So I just sit in it.
That's lucky.
It's like I've got two options. I can either no one's physically picking me out of this. Nobody knows if I get out of it. The only person who knows if I get out of it is me. So it's like a big mental win every day or every time that I do it, and I take that through pretty much everything that I do. So last night I was editing a video instead of watching the England football match. I was done after Friday. Those Triple Crown streams are really tough. So I feel like I'm smashing my head against a brick wall and not getting anywhere, and I never do it. I never achieve it. I put the boys to bed, and all I wanted to do was to sit down and do nothing. I didn't want to do any more sim racing. But I knew that I needed to get a video out for Sunday. So it goes back to this, you either do it or you don't. And more often than not, I think to myself, I'm going to do it.
I like how you're kind of open about that, the fitness journey, and kind of, just being a little bit more transparent with the community. One thing we were talking about earlier and how we kind of manage the stress and manage all of these things is, we're kind of the men that put it out there like, hey, I go to therapy, man. I go out and I get help. And you were telling me some of the things that you do to kind of, calm yourself or better yourself. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
So yeah, I mean, I've had a therapist for years. There's a big stigma around therapists, but in my old professional world, like I just see it as a consultant. Like for me, a
100%.
therapist is no different. Is no different than a personal trainer. No difference than a private chef if you're lucky to have one. No different to I don't have one, by the way. I'd love one. I wouldn't be in the state I am if I did. It's just a consultant. It's an MOT for my brain, because and a lot of people can probably resonate with this. I don't want to burden my wife with my rubbish because I want her to think that I'm Superman. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. I don't want to burden my parents with it because they've done more than enough for me in my life. They need to enjoy their life. They've given enough for me. And I don't have the friendship group where we can sit and talk about this sort of stuff. So that leaves nobody, right? And you can either be in there with your own thoughts, or you can go and speak to someone. And I'm very self-aware, and I'm very comfortable with who I am, as you guys probably know. So I'll just say it how it is. I need help sometimes. I'm only human like everybody else. I've got troubles that just because I don't mention on stream doesn't mean I don't have them, just like everybody else. And it helps me, and it keeps me on the straight and narrow, which I very, very much need.
Yeah, I truly appreciate that. I think one of the things that really keeps your community so in tune with you, and you have a really loyal group there. It's almost as if, like 1,000 or so folks just kind of ride or die with you, and it's one of the bigger moments, and we'll go over this quickly, is I've seen you have some tough moments on stream, whether it be family related or, and I think you kind of already know what I'm talking about, but, watching you have those vulnerable moments and then push through that, and it makes us feel that much more important. Like we say it all the time, like, I love my community. I appreciate you guys. I always want to help you guys, yada, yada, yada. But it's when we're pushing our hosts through some moments like that I think we really start to generate a better bond. And that's one of the things that I've tried to do with Behind the Wheel. Marley Diesel had reached out to me one time, and it was really an eye-opening experience with him sharing his testimony to me, and just kind of something completely outside of the game, completely outside of the community. Same thing with Papa's House, a game. Like, me and Eric talk about just things we're frustrated about in life, offline. And that's one of the most unique things about being a community host, and I just want to say that I think you do that really well, and just I appreciate you being there, because one of the reasons I did this is my son wants to be a streamer, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try to get one foot in the door and maybe pave a little way for you. And I think we both have the same values with trying to make that life a little bit easier for our boys. So when it comes to someone asking you about what you do or asking you about the stream life, like, how do you stand tall and stand proud on explaining that to people, and where does that kind of strength come from?
So it gets easier. Just to touch on your previous thing, yeah. So talking about mum, she's we're so lucky. She's fine. She's fine now. So she's so lucky. She's come through it all, and everything is great. Touch wood, and she's gonna be fine. But I owe it to you guys to be honest and be. There's no like threshold. I talk about everything because you guys are owed that from me, because you guys support everything I am. So who am I to, and you guys are so accepting of every single situation. I think honesty is just the best policy, and everybody has gone through the same situation as you, or is going through the same situation as you, or can understand. So yeah, and the biggest thing is I feel comfortable enough to be myself. I couldn't even be myself around my own friends, which so I massively appreciate you guys and everybody else. I'm not talking just to you, Travis. I'm talking to everybody who is watching this now, who will watch it. Without you guys, I am still living my miserable old life. So I am eternally grateful, to you guys, and you will get 100% of me, the whole time, when my good times and my bad. So so I'm glad you guys don't mind it when I share, because it's not going anywhere. But just sorry, we sidetracked slightly.
No, man, that's
how
what people want to hear.
how do I stand tall? It gets easier. The more ridiculous the number next to my name gets, it gets easier. But I remember vividly, and this is why I struggle with having friends now, because I can't forget. And
I do
I
remember
used
the
to get
story.
actively, yeah, I get the Mickey. I used to get the Mickey taken out of me all the time. For wanting to start a YouTube channel. They found my YouTube channel, and I was the butt of the joke. It was like I was 13 again at school, getting essentially bullied by the people that you kind of grew up with. I remember hearing stories of a stag do that I was on, that they had my videos up. This must have been in 2019, like on the bus going to a football game. I didn't go to this football game, but they all did. Had it on like the little, like the TV that's in between on the aisle, on like a bus or a coach or whatever. They put that on there and just took the Mickey out of me about it.
That's awful.
Like some people were like, if you do that again, like just having a joke with them, and they were like, if you do that again, I'm going to tell everyone about your channel.
Oh,
One of my closest
geez.
friends, who was a groomsman at my wedding, said on a night out, "I hate you for doing this." And
Oh
it's
my
just
gosh.
like, and that was it. So it's I it, so now that I'm comfortable and now I'm successful with it, to the point where I can just sort of look after my family, I tell people, and it's much easier now, because people are like, "Oh, great, that's really, really good." But because it's more common that people do that now. But back in 2019, it was a ridiculous thought, and all of my friends wanted me to fail.
Yeah, I think the world as a whole has kind of got more comfortable with this, and we were talking about not even having the kind of tech that we have now to do it back then, and you are definitely a pioneer in this. Like, I think people jump on now, and anybody new, and even for me in the last year, I didn't know all the hardships that you had went through, and just even more that I'm learning now. But I've watched your channel enough to hear the story about your one of your groomsmen, and I heard that story before, and I heard you tell it before, and it seemed like it was even more painful back then than it is to tell it now, because I've had just in a little bit of times just explaining to the family, hey, what this is. I ran into a guy one time named Rick Slick at Costco, and he was like, "Are you Viking King?"
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I love your channel. And then it was funny because like nobody else around us was excited. They were like, what are you talking? What is sim racing? And we're like, these two kind of nerds talking about, oh man, we got wheels and pedals, we got all this stuff, and you got to try it. You got to try it. Like, it really is one of those, hobbies that, if you're not an extrovert being out on the community, it's kind of introverted, and you're really alone. So I really I appreciate a lot of the smaller channels and a lot of the guys that are out there that are putting themselves out there, because it's not easy. It's not easy. And when your family finds your channel, or people, they got things to say. But I've always lived by one of these quotes that I've heard, and the people who care about you, the people who care don't matter, and the people who matter don't care. Like you said, the people who love you and who are around you and that you're doing it for, they're always going to support you. They're always going to be there for you. And they get involved. Like, I've even seen that you've gotten Erin on the stream. Are we going to see more of Erin on the stream, or how did she like it?
Yeah, she's great. Again, another wonderful part of the perfect recipe that I found myself in, that the internet likes my wife. Like, it could have very much gone the wrong way when I put her on there, because I can't tell I love her, but I don't know if everybody else would. But she's willing to do anything. She is. She is. Oh, God, I'm so lucky to have her. Honestly, she's incredible. She's done nothing but encourage me in a time where she was the only one who encouraged me. I was doing things with, I was putting all this effort in to get the channel off the ground, with zero indicators that it was going to do any good. With all of I call them my friends. I've started calling them more the people I grew up with. With everybody saying you shouldn't do this. But when people ask you, it's funny now, because before you're successful, there's a good phrase. Before you're successful, people ask you why. When you're successful, people ask you how.
How?
And a couple of my friends have come to me and said, oh, I'm doing this podcast. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing that. What I should be saying is, giving them the reception they gave me. But no, I will of course help them and be the friend. And I did make the point to a couple of them. I'll be the friend that I wish I had when I was starting my channel. So they're very aware that I haven't forgotten this.
I hear that. And it's it's just funny, because you're bringing up that you're making juices flow in my head, that I got other things going on, with my best friend and the people that I've kind of cut out of my life. And we were talking a little bit earlier about this offline, is as you mature, I guess we'll call it, and you kind of transcend certain groups or certain social groups, certain demographics, you get into this phase where nothing else really matters, man. I got the people underneath my roof, and now I have my community, and for me, I've gone back to work, so I have the boys that I work with, that I care about, and I just focus on these pillars. And I think as you get older and you get a little wiser, you stop letting people have that real estate in your head. And I think you do really well at managing. We were talking about kind of managing the negativity that comes with being a host on social media, and it's always going to find you. Especially if you have success, success loves misery and misery loves company. So they're both coming with it, so what's your philosophy on how you kind of deal with the negativity, or when it comes around you, what do you do to deflect that, or what barriers have you set up, and how do you manage that?
I have such a overwhelming level of support from all of you that I can honestly say I do not care if someone comes in to the stream and says this, that, and the other, or writes a scathing comment. Or it wasn't always the case, but now I'm certainly in a place where I just don't care. It's not, why would I take the time away from those who are enjoying it by dragging down? Nobody wants to come into my stream, or any stream. There's enough rubbish going on in the world. They don't want to come into my stream and watch me having a moan up about something, or getting into an argument with somebody else. And also, you should never argue with fools, because from a distance, people can't tell who is who. So
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to use that one. I like that one. Yeah. Speaking of all these great people, let's just take a little minute here. I know you got the chat out in front of you. Just kind of shout out to, there's probably some people in there that you're seeing that you definitely want to say hello to. So I'll let you kind of take the lead on that real quick.
I like everybody in there, quite frankly. I can see a few people like Hoggy and 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀 and Owen. as I called him Ewan for a long time. Laser guy, like so many guys. I'm just scrolling up here. Moritz, Brigsby, not that quick. Like so many people. Farouk, Mikel, Flipping Eck, like everybody. Crooked GT. I could keep going. Papa's House of Games, High Octane. All these names are the same guys that I've been seeing for years. So thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate all of you. You don't need to, you know, you don't need to hear me say it again, but I will say it again. Thank you guys. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, Mr. T, LJ, Captain Howdy, Axe, Tana, Hogston, Richard, Papa, Lizard, all you guys. I see you guys coming in. It's a fire chat today. I just want to kind of give you guys a moment to know that we're never ignoring you guys. We're just trying to give you the best quality stream that we can. It's not often that we get to see Rory in these kind of off-channel vulnerable moments. I mean, you guys are seeing me more frequently. So shout out to, you know, all the guests that we've had out here, for everybody who's, you know, been kind of motivating me and pushing me to do this. It's not easy. Rory, you kind of know the inside scoop now on how much I got to get prepared and how much I like to be prepared. And, you know, I'm constantly reaching out, and I know you're managing around the boys. And so I really appreciate you this week. Just kind of coming out and helping us. I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the success you have had with this game and where it's taken you. You're an avid traveler. I think you're going to Dubai next week.
Yeah, that's so there's a few things, like when you do like well on YouTube, obviously you do better financially. The only things that have really changed with me and my family situation is we go on double the holidays. So we go to Dubai twice a year rather than once like we used to. And I'm in a position to put the boys in the best school, to play my part in putting the boys in the best school that we and Erin
See what you did there.
Because you know, Erin is an incredibly successful woman. It's not a one-man show here. It's not like me, like playing all the games and, you know, making all them. Absolutely not. I play my role in this, you know, in this family. We've got a wonderful balance, and I'm just glad that I can play my part in giving, you know, my family the best chance of having the best life they can. So that's the only thing that kind of changes with that. So going to Dubai, but I've been very lucky with going to all the places that I've been to, and it's basically because every time that somebody offers something to me or an opportunity comes up, if my gut says no, what comes out of my mouth is yes. I just say yes. And, you know, I put all the anxiety aside, I put all the imposter syndrome aside, and I use that to drive me. Like presenting and stuff, I've never done that before. Presenting, commentary, it's but you learn on the fly. So you don't always have to believe in yourself. If other people believe in you, then who are you to question it?
Especially when your number one believes in you, man. It sounds like Erin is an amazing woman. I'm sure she is just as blessed to have you. I mean, we're all fans of you, so I'm sure she's the biggest fan of you. It's really amazing to hear about your trips and stuff, and I like that you posted on Instagram, and you know, you kind of share that. It's motivated me to be a little bit more transparent, and I think when you do that, it really it allows your community to, you know, feel a little bit more connected with you as well. So I definitely would encourage people to do that. Going back to kind of the success that you've had with Gran Turismo, you said that you have we have some expo picks, and then we have some picks from, I think it was the Pro-Am World Finals.
Oh, yeah.
Was that as well?
Yeah.
So, and speaking of kind of a Mount Rushmore of Gran Turismo, when we look at this, I want to bring this this first picture up here. We'll start with that. Tell me what this experience like is to stand at, like, I know that, you know, Z was a world finalist, and you're kind of telling me how the difference with that is, but this is another one of those peak when it comes to community. I'm assuming this is like the peak of it, when you can link up with an amateur driver and achieve this kind of success. This looks really special, man. Tell me what this was like.
Yeah, so that there is like our Pro-Am thing, but again, you know, it's the black and white thinking that's in my head. Is like, I was lucky enough to be paired with 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀, arguably the best Gran Turismo driver of all time, one of maybe two or three if you count Mikel Hazao or Coque Lopez. He's probably the best. So it's again that perfect recipe of, you know, what are the chances? One, that I get invited to it. Two, that I choose the manufacturer that had 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀 attached to it. 3 that we were at a track that I was okay at. So it's all of these things, and you've got to be so. I just have to be so grateful for it. That is, even looking back on it, is just mad. To think that I'm even at that event, let alone doing the things that I somehow managed to, or me and 𝙃𝘼𝙑 managed to achieve. I'll probably never be able to do it again. But yeah, it is. It's incredible, and the people there, like, not just the drivers. The drivers are so hospitable. They're just really, really nice to me, which is just really comforting. But just the fans that are there, not the fans of me, the fans of Gran Turismo, the community that are there. It's just so nice to feel so accepted, and it's lovely to do. Lovely to do, and they've just announced a new world tour actually, which is the first one's in London. So I cannot wait to go to that and just see what that's like, and meet all the people that haven't been able to get out to the ones that I've been at so far. I think it's going to be great.
So now that you've kind of achieved this, because it is kind of crazy to think about, the difference between, some of the guys that are real life drivers and then have success in GT, and you being like, I feel like your success as a community host exceeds your success as a driver. So you're kind of there more. It's almost like the people want to see you more because of who you are and not what you do. And I've heard it over and over again with all the guests that we've had on here. And I even got some pictures from some other guests about what it's like to meet you in real life and to meet you at an expo. And what does it feel like when Rory walks into one of these places now? And tell us, how do you kind of manage the celebrity, I guess, that you have now?
It's kind of it's kind of weird, because people are just nicer to you. That's the way it is. When your YouTube channel grows, people are nicer to you. That's I've never had a bad experience with anybody. But the thing is, nothing changes my end. Like, the chat moves a little bit quicker than it ever did. The number next to my name just gets more ridiculous. But then, I've been that way since like 300 subscribers. I thought, wow, I'd never get 300. So for it to keep going and going and going is just even more ridiculous. And I hope everyone who sort of meets me or I have the privilege to meet, I should say, and the people who hang out with us most days know like what they're getting. Like, I'm just a normal guy. I'm not going to go. My goals are to look after my family in the least chauvinistic way possible. I'd love to retire my wife, and I'd love to give the boys everything that I possibly could. So yeah, I'm just a normal guy, to be honest. I work no harder. I work hard, but no harder than any of you guys. I'm no. Is the word martyr? Is that the right word? I'm not sure. I'm nothing special. I'm just
Right.
very lucky.
I
The
don't know
recipe.
I don't know how London is, or kind of, if it's a smaller or kind of bigger area. And I know you're out there in Guildford, but do you get recognized in public now?
Yeah, a couple of, funnily enough, um, I was walking to soft play today, and like, this guy was coming out with his kids, and he like looked at me, and I kind of laughed and said, "Oh, you've done your time," like, because it was in the previous soft play session. He had like one guy with 2 kids. I'm like, I'm about to go in, and he kind of didn't say anything. I thought, oh, this is weird. And then he goes, "I watch you on YouTube." And that was about it. And I was like, "Oh, well, thank you so much." Blah 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 blah. So yeah, I do sometimes, but yeah, not that often, to be honest with you. Not that
Is it kind of a, I mean, what do your boys think about it? Has it ever happened in front of your boys?
Yeah, it happened today. Yeah, it happened today.
Do they look at you
Um,
like, wow, my dad is
no, no,
amazing?
no. They don't understand it. They just think Daddy's talking to someone. That's all. And they go, "Daddy, who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's just somebody who watches Daddy on
That's
YouTube."
pretty
That's all.
dang cool. We had 𝙃𝘼𝙀𝙀 ask, who's inspired you the most when it comes to, I guess, all of it together, being a content creator?
I kind of take a little bit from everybody inspires me. To be honest with you, you can take inspiration from everywhere. This whole landscape, like the sim racing landscape, is something that you can take little bits out of. There's people who are far better content creators than me. They're just earlier in the journey, or better content creators have come and gone. like because they haven't remained consistent, or they've gone off to do other things, or or life's changed for them. So to be honest, everybody and everything. So I'll give you a prime example. It's not just in sim racing as well. So a Red Bull, Red Bull, the drink. They do
It gives you
like these
wings.
weird challenges. Yeah. They do some weird challenges. Right? But there was this guy who was walking over a tightrope between two countries, and it was like a world record. I don't know if you saw that, or if anybody in chat saw that.
I think I might have seen a highlight of it.
So basically, the takeaway from this is that it had like him across a yellow line, and then it had a world record, and then it had like the finish, and that is where I got my subscriber moving head thing from. It's like,
Ah,
right, okay, that's an example of taking inspiration from elsewhere. I took inspiration from a lot of Call of Duty streamers from a like work perspective, and that's probably the biggest thing, to be honest. I thought these guys stream during the day. There must be a market for this. All I need to be is more exciting than someone's email inbox report. I don't know. Like you almost need to be the cure for procrastination, or the whatever it is. You need to be there when people want to procrastinate, and that's kind of it really. So I've taken it from anywhere and everywhere, and I will continue to do so.
and it's awesome because I think that all of us are pulling from you, because you're kind of, I mean, when you name again, I keep saying like the Mount Rushmore of you guys. I mean, it's when you watch, kind of how 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀 does his videos, and you have guys like, I love watching 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀 because I feel like I can get on 𝙃𝘼𝙃's channel, I can learn exactly how I'm supposed to drive a car and race a race, exactly where my brake bias is supposed to be, what lines I need to take, and he's a machine, when he drives, which is really amazing. But you are extremely fast as well. I mean, there's some of us, I mean, I can qualify for 16 hours in 2 days and still not break into the top 100. But I feel like some of you guys, you jump in, you set a quality time so quickly, and it's always in that really high echelon. What's your secret, or kind of do you have like a method to your racecraft?
I find it very simple again, it's coming back to my black and white thinking. If I brake at the same time as this guy, if I turn in at the same time as this guy, if I get on the power at the same time as this guy, there's literally nothing. There's nothing stopping me from doing exactly what they're doing.
Right.
So that's the way I take it. Really, I brake at this point, I go down to this gear, then I get on the power here. That's literally it. And then I try and just be as safe as possible when I'm out there. But those guys are great, and we all offer different things. That's what I really, really like, and I hark back to this, being so lucky to have this recipe that works. Like, because if I was as quick as my mindset was I wanted to be as quick as everybody else, then I would need to concentrate more than everybody else, because I'm not as talented as those guys. So my chat interaction would be less, which is a big draw for a lot of people. So I almost have to trade out the wins and the fastest laps and all that sort of stuff for chatting with community. But that's perfect. That works for me. So
Yeah, Moritz said that Rory's not driving and chatting, he's chatting and driving. And I think again that goes back to like, you're a host first. And I think it's just really amazing that you're so dang fast. I mean, I was talking to I don't know if you've noticed him out there, but 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀, it's funny, he's been talking to me a lot about this upcoming episode, and he said he like tried to stand out to you, try to send out like a friend request, and he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go into the UK, make an A+ account, and I'm gonna try to beat him and see if he sees me. So I think you're inspiring people in so many dang ways, because you do have the host side, but you do have the speed, and it makes you like this, and you throw in the triple crown of being the family man, being the good person. So it makes it a really enjoyable stream to watch, and it's just awesome, man. So when you get into the levels of Gran Turismo, and like finding out what's next, you've been in the Gran Turismo movie, like, is that what is the mecca for you? What drives you with this game? Is there something you want to achieve?
I want to pay off my mortgage. I want to retire my wife. I want to have enough money in investments so my kids don't have to lift a finger if they don't want to. They're the goals, and Gran Turismo, excuse the pun, is the vehicle to deliver that. Because I don't know if this is going to end tomorrow. If this is going to end next month, if this is going to end next year, in the next 10 years, I don't know. But I just feel I'm on borrowed time with it. It's the imposter syndrome probably in me. But yeah, so that's the goal. And I'm just going to work as hard as I can to make as good a content as I can, so that things can hopefully work out, to be honest.
How far are you away from the Audi?
Oh, the Audi is the last thing. Again, like that's a terrible investment. I would love an Audi RS6 for those who don't know. I mean, everybody knows.
I think everybody knows. I think you even had a couple guys saying they got some hookups at the dealerships for you.
Yeah, exactly. He did actually. But no, I mean, yeah, I could have one probably, but then what if it all goes wrong? I'm not that arrogant to think that it's going to continue like this forever. I just want to be responsible and what kind of world do I live in if I'm driving an Audi RS6? Like, I'm not that guy. I would need to get some. I need to keep my feet on the ground and just be like, that's ridiculous. Like if you see me driving an RS6, you'll know I've completely got high off my own supply. I need a good clip round the ear and brought back down to work.
I always tell my kids, you're my Hellcat. You're my Ducati. You're everything I've always wanted. And maybe one day when you're successful and you're living your life and I feel like I've done my job, maybe then I'll go get my Hellcat. Maybe then I'll go, but for now I take care of the things that I have, so when I do have nicer things, that I'll appreciate them more. Try to teach my kids those values, to set your priorities. And we all want things, but there's also needs and there's priorities in life, man. So I really admire that we share that in common, man. I think anytime you kind of meet a dad who's kind of got that, that big family and they're doing what they do, that's kind of the mentality that we all have is putting them first. So, but we all like to see when you do something cool. So.
Oh, can you hear me now? You broke up a bit there. Did you hear me say, oh, you broke up there? Did you get that?
No, I didn't. Well, I hope we don't have any issues with the audio on this one.
No. Just stop.
Every issue always has something little, but I wanted to talk to you about the Gran Turismo movie, and I heard you briefly kind of talk about it, but that fascinates me. I mean, when I tell people like, hey, I'm having an interview with Rory this week, and I'm like, well, he was in the Gran Turismo movie, and I think people know that even more than they know the game. Like, what the heck was that like? How did that even happen?
I just got an email like, oh yeah, do you mind if we use this bit of footage here? I was like, absolutely, please do. I'm only in it for literally like 2 seconds, but it's just it just doesn't feel real. It's just another thing to add to the list that just doesn't feel real. That I just feel like I'm going to wake up from this one day and it's just going to be a big dream, and I'm actually going to be going to a contract meeting with my old fire and security contract manager. And I just think it's gonna be a big dream one day.
Do you ever?
It's a dream moment.
Do you ever want to get into like acting or anything like that? Do you think your social media presence will lead into?
No. Again, like I'm just a normal guy, Travis. There's no way. No way. I'm just very lucky that this works. So we're just going to press this for as long as we can.
I briefly saw like the Ferrari thing. What's the Ferrari thing?
Oh, what the Ferrari esports stuff in Abu Dhabi. So that is basically like do you have X Factor over in the US? Did you have that, like that singing competition?
Oh, I think we have something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, it's a competition, a sim racing competition held across Assetto Corsa, the first one, iRacing, and ACC. So you do qualifiers through your chosen sim, and then you get the finalists. So like the top, I think it was like the top 5 ACC guys, the top 5 iRacing guys, and the top 2 or whatever it was, AC guys, all get flown out to Abu Dhabi. And then they have to compete across each of those each of those titles to find out who's the best all-rounder, and the winner got a seat on in Ferrari's esports team as a full-time driver.
That's insane.
Veloce were heavily involved in it. That's how I got the call up for it. But yeah, a mega experience. And one of those times where it's like, again, like, do you want to commentate and host the Ferrari Esports series? My gut says no. So I go, yes. And it
Yeah.
it worked out okay.
I think people are definitely, I mean, I know I'm interested in like the sponsorship opportunities, all the travel things, all the kind of things that we see you doing. I think people are really interested in like, how does that happen and how do you get involved? Do they just start calling you eventually, or did you do any kind of reach out work?
Oh, I must have sent Fanatec literally hundreds of emails, hundreds of emails. I've spent GTO Omega hundreds of emails. Again, you've got to shout till they hear you out. Is another phrase that I like to hear. You've got to
Close
just
them out,
keep
don't
going.
get fed.
Just keep going. Like, work on your product, work on your image. You need to be somebody who people want to work with and want to be associated with. But everything's by design. Like, this PC's here. Well, you won't be able to see it here, but it is. Oh, can you see it? Oh, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
This PC is here as part of the sponsorship. Like, I could have, like, some people have got PCs, but it's hidden out the way. So that's not a sponsorship opportunity.
Ah,
It's very, Thrustmaster is here for a very good reason. GT Omega, this seat, everyone goes, oh, why have you not got GT Omega on the other side as well? You've only got it on one side. It looks a bit weird.
ah.
It doesn't when you sit like this and you realise you can see it there. So it's like it's all part of the game.
I
It's
love
all
what you
part of
did with the YouTube plaque. Like when we were watching the stream, the reflection in the plaque is always perfectly on the screen. So it looks like you got a special plaque that's like, has a screen built into it. And I think I thought that forever. Like that's what the plaques look like.
No, it's all for engagement and stuff. Like I say, flags wrong. I say corners wrong. I do things wrong, and when you do it for long enough, you know what's going to get a kick out of people. And yeah, it's just a part of the game, really. All of this, like, sponsorships are such a huge thing. Because if I didn't get a view tomorrow, like, it'd be fine because we've got long-standing partnerships with people, long contracts with people, with stuff that I actually want to use. So I don't have to do the crazy things. Like, I don't have to reach and do a ridiculous, like, title, really clickbaity, really horrible, because one, I don't want to destroy people's trust, but two, we've got it covered. We can take money from people who have budgets, not
Right.
people who have to put food on the table. Like, one day I do
Interesting.
genuinely want to turn off, like, the super chat button. I just don't like. I just would feel it would be irresponsible at a certain level,
Wow.
to keep it on, because you guys do enough for me in the numbers, like, to just watch. Um, so yeah, these
So
these
so
are the ones
basically from
from
the
every.
beginning, kind of start with that business set mentality. You want to be like we were talking about, that professionalism, why we
Mhm,
do and don't do certain things is because where people are building success, there's an etiquette,
mhm,
and if you want those sponsors, if you want a company to put their name on your name, you got to share those values. So I've been in like sales and marketing and things like that, and mostly I've just worked with kids my whole life. So you always have to be careful, like on my social media or on my Facebook, I know there's always young eyes watching me. So
yeah,
regardless
yeah,
of what
yeah.
I do behind closed doors or kind of how I talk, when I'm comfortable around my friend pool, I always know there's a little set of eyes on me, and that usually keeps me pretty well grounded. So
Yeah, and also, one day, everything I'm doing, I'm putting on tape, as an American phrase, right? I'm putting everything on tape here. One day, like, if I do make a wrong move, or, like, so for example, there's a way at the moment that you can sort of exploit the penalty system on Gran Turismo, or cheat as I call it, where basically you go, if you get a penalty, when you serve it, you go onto the grass, so the wheels don't grip as much and you don't slow down as much, essentially. Therefore, negating, a 5 second penalty feels like it actually is like a 2 second penalty, because haven't
wow.
slowed down as much, because you're not, there's less traction on the, if you were to brake on the grass, you're not going to slow down, right? And the game automatically slows you down when you go through the penalty gate. So if I was doing that and someone sent that to Thrustmaster, or someone sent that to PC Specialist, or someone sent that to 𝙃𝘼𝙂𝙀 there, or even to YouTube, because I work with YouTube sometimes, they can be like, there's a clause in every contract that I have that if I bring their name into disrepute, it's just an instant gone. And I just have to be so careful with that sort of stuff. And also, I know that someone's going to run up to my kid one day with a phone and go, "This is your dad," and I want them to be. I want them to go, "Yeah, it is my dad," or I want them to go, "Wow, is this your dad?" Not, "Look what I've seen your dad do."
Right.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? I don't want to be a point of them being bullied, or I want them to be proud of what their dad does, not the other way around. So that all plays in my mind.
There's definitely as you get to be a figurehead in any kind of community or business or anything, you learn that, your behaviors radiate onto many others, and the names that we wear. And I know my company's big on that because, we work with at-risk youth. So we don't even really mention their names or anything, but, I work with some boys that are, have had really, really troubled lives, as I did, growing up, coming out of the foster care system, so I appreciate that appreciation for, professionalism. And I look forward to maybe having some sponsorship opportunities with the channel and kind of seeing where this goes. I'm being told that I'm all right at this podcasting thing. And
I'll tell you again, you're more than all right. You're good, really good.
I appreciate you, man. It's been a true honor to have you here. I mean, it's again, someone who inspires you, and then being able to talk somebody eye to eye, level head, and you kind of realize that people are human beings. I know that you're everybody talks about that you're a big giant human being. You, 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀𝙃, I don't know what's in the water over there on the other side of the pond, but you guys all kind of radiate this kind of jolly giant things. And I think what a lot of us men that are doing on here, and I really like dads and people in leadership roles, showing that you can be humble, you can be kind, and there's an avenue for that. And hopefully that is the avenue that's more well-traveled than people feeling like they got to stand out by being, kind of mean or rotten. Or I tell my son, he's a giant as well. He's 16 years old. He's about to be 16, he's 6'3". And, I've always told him, use your strength and use your height and use your influence on people to do good things. And I think at the end of your life, people will measure you by the people you've impacted, and
legacy is massive.
100%, man. So the Rory Alexander legacy, I mean, is this, you're going to ride this until it goes, or is there, I know the end game is having enough to pay everything off, and are you just going to disappear, or how is that going to, what's the end game?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I can't believe I've got this far, to be honest with you. So I have, I just concentrate on tomorrow. I concentrate on the next stream. I concentrate on the next short. I concentrate on the next video, because I'm nowhere near where I want to be yet. And there's so many people coming for my spot. Not saying I'm top by any means, because we all know who's top. There's like Steve and Jimmy are the benchmark. They are so far and beyond anything that I could possibly ever achieve. So for me, I just know that there's going to be the next person who's coming for my spot all the time. So yeah, I just concentrate on the next foot and just try and make things better next time around. Try not to make the same mistakes twice. Trying to keep my standards up, even when I don't want to do stuff. I need to keep doing it, and just keep myself accountable for everything that I do.
Cheers to that, sir. Cheers to that. I hope to be I missed 6 or 7 years of the journey, but it's been an awesome last year. So I look forward to many more years, and hopefully getting my way in my UK account so I can race with you. Do you ever do like the USA alt account kind of thing?
I do, but I don't, because I don't like the ping. So I've got like the ping can be bad, and I don't like the idea of messing up someone else's race, to be honest with you. So I tend not to, but I should do, because half the audience is
we'd love to see EERIEISSSS USA, man. It'd be an honor to race with you. And then I mean, I don't know where your ranking is, but kind of seeing you get through that.
I think it's A+.
I'm sure it is. I got to get up there too, man. I'm starting to be able to race with the A+, as I'm like mid A, but I don't do a lot of DR grinding. I usually just after watching you, honestly, and some of the other guys, you know, and honestly, 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀, when he started the wacky races, and it was like, you know, let's just kick back and have fun and not be stressed out about DR all the time. Which brings up a good question. DMC asked, in the beginning, do you ever think about quitting YouTube? Like, did it ever get too stressful?
Nope, never. It got, you know, it got stressful. Really, it's constantly stressful. I'm stressed right now because I've got a holiday coming up, and I need to make sure that I've got all my stuff sorted so people don't forget me while I'm away. So it's a constant level of stress, but nothing will ever, you know, all YouTube takes is all you've got. So as long as I give 100%, if you know, if things don't work out, then I can, you know, I can be like, well, I tried my absolute best, which I've been doing for, you know, I could genuinely say I've tried my absolute best for probably the last sort of like 3 years now, something like that. I don't think I could give any more, and as long as I can keep going with that, what will be will be. So yeah, stress doesn't. Everyone's stressed, right? I'm very lucky to have the stresses that I have.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it.
It sounds like you found some really good ways to manage it well. I hope people go back and kind of, you know, listen to the transparency and the vulnerability that was kind of shown here today, because that's huge, man. You know, it's huge. Talking about our mental health and how we get through that is a big way, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. Flippin asked, who would you like to play you in a movie of your life?
Ryan Reynolds from Blade. Did you see the state of Ryan Reynolds in Blade?
There you go. You're gonna have to pack on some LBs.
Yeah. So yeah, although apparently there's some political stuff with him right now, so maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't know. I'm ignorant to that sort of stuff. But no, I don't know. I actually like, you know, it genuinely would be a story that I would read.
Oh yeah, I think all of us would read it.
Like this guy who
be a YouTube Times bestseller.
Yeah, like he was like an executive director or a director, and he left his job, and everyone laughed at him to go play video games, and he did what he said he was always going to do.
Yeah,
by hook or by crook, you know, somehow I've done it.
From zero to hero. Shout out to Wrench Wench out there doing big things. Stumpy wants to know if you're going to do a world tour run.
Yep. You won't see it though. It's going to be in a video.
Ah,
give you a peek on that.
Got to concentrate on that one, huh?
I'm going to stream the first two because I stream 9 till 5, and then I'm going to go and do the third split or the third go, and I'm going to record them all, and then I'm going to put them together in a little like not a Drive to Survive, or maybe a Drive to Survive style kind of like race one. This is what we did. This is how we did, and then almost like commentate over it in the usual style and stuff. But yeah, one big video for it, I think.
Sparkles said Ryan Reynolds might not be tall enough. We might have to put him on some stilts.
Yeah. If they were
to make like a Jeep Gran Turismo 2 and actually focused on what makes Gran Turismo beautiful, which is the community and all of this, it's not necessarily, you know, the dream to make it into a real race car, which is cool. I don't know if you have any you know, dreams to really race a car. I think we've already talked about that once and you said absolutely not. But to actually like play like you, 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀, between you three, I mean, they're running out of people in the world. They're going to have to go to the NBA and get some guys to try out because
they're tall. Yeah, they're real tall. But yeah, just on the racing thing, because I get a lot of questions like, "Oh, do you race in real life? Are you going to race in real life?" It's like, no, I'm just a normal guy who's got a very lucky job, and that's it. Like, that's the easiest way to mess things up, is for me anyway, is to give in to distractions. If I'm not 100% focused on this thing, then I let someone else in, and I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to not keep my foot on the throat of this position that I've somehow found myself in, with this perfect recipe that I always talk about of, it happens that my speed is perfect for people. The fact that I like talking to people and like being honest and have kids and have a wife and stuff. Like all that plays its part. I don't want to do anything to disturb that. So yeah, racing is definitely not on the agenda. One day I'd love an RS6 to do the Gumball 3000. That would be wonderful. But yeah, that ain't gonna happen either.
I think we got a movie title name. Through Goes Rory. There we go.
Yeah.
That's going to be the movie title.
I mean, how on earth is that stuck?
It's stuck. I use it all the time. I literally just made a short that says "Through Goes Viking." But
it's like another thing that I'm so lucky that has resonated with people that I can't understand why, and I can't dissect why.
How do you feel when you see people kind of doing things that you do? Do you encourage them to copy paste or like the Triple Crown, right? What if somebody were to start the Triple Crown? Would you feel some kind of way? No, that's a heck of a challenge, man. And I say that for myself because one day I hope to be good enough that I can do 3 different races. Right now I have to quali for like 10-12 hours so that I learn the track, because the tracks are still very new to me. 1 year in sim racing is not enough. Guys like Crawler, again, who've been doing this since like late last year, A+ and everything, and absolutely fast. But do you have, do you think for these guys that are working hard, what's the real fine spot? Is it year 1, year 2? You got to wait till your junior year to really be good at it, till you've raced all the tracks. How long did it take you to be fluent?
In speed wise?
Yeah.
Or just in YouTube wise?
Just no, on the track. Yeah, like in your actual racecraft. Like how long would you say it took you till you were just really as confident as you are?
I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm overly kind of in a place that I'm happy with now, but I know there's mitigating factors for that. I'd say a good year, something like that. I think you can do it in a year. But those guys who are starting out and those guys who are streaming, and it's consistency will be absolutely everything. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be the most consistent. So if people who are way better than I will ever be have come and gone, or have got distracted and gone to other games or anything like that. If you just keep going, you will be absolutely fine. Just don't stop. If you truly want to do this, then just don't stop. And I'm living proof, I think, that anyone, you don't have to be good at this thing. Anyone can do it. You just need to work hard and stay consistent, and everything will work out.
Man, I appreciate you, Rory. It has been an amazing time here. I think it's still so new to me. It was really cool to hear you talk about, being on other podcasts and being excited for this one. I hope this definitely leads into some cooler things, and I get to interact with you a little bit more out there. I truly appreciate everybody from your community that decided to stop by today. Look forward to meeting many more. In this journey, I feel like I'm here to stay. I feel like this is something that's become very, very important to me, and just having your support coming on here has really boosted my confidence and motivation to keep on going, man. So thank you. I'll give you a chance to kind of say your goodbyes and shout out to the community one last time.
Yeah, thank you, guys. One thing actually I did want to say, Viking King is currently on 911 subscribers. So if you are watching this like now, make sure that you subscribe to him, because I love what he's doing, and I'm sure you guys do too. Or if you're watching this back, firstly, thank you for getting this far. Secondly, make sure you subscribe to Viking as well, because he's an absolute hero. I love the way you chat to people. As I say, I don't jump on everyone's podcast, and I really, wanted to chat with you. It's been everything that I wanted it to be. It's everything I expected it to be. It felt like I was talking to a friend, or that I'd known for years, or a therapist that I've had for years. probably more truthful. But no, thank you to you. Thank you to everyone who's watched. I see you guys in chat. Thank you for your continued support, and continuing to allow me to do what I love to do, and to play my part in supporting my family. Without you, I can't do any of it. So just a massive thank you as always.
Truly appreciate you, brother. Definitely got a friend in me, VKG, and it's nice to know us. One of the things that I did want to tap on just before we leave. We always do this at the end of the show. I don't know why it always comes at the end of the show, but you changed from 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀 to Rory Alexander. Why'd you make that change, just for a last topic?
I did it at about 30,000 subscribers because I had a dream of doing this full time one time. I've got a degree in marketing, and I thought 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀 is not. I thought about it with. Do you know the tech reviewer 𝘃𝐵HD, who is 𝘃𝐵𝙃?
I've never heard.
Have
No.
you ever seen? Some guys will know him. Like the biggest tech reviewer in the world. Is above his head is 𝘃𝐵HD, and then 𝘃𝐵𝙃 is his name. So it's almost like his brand and his like nickname, if you like. 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀 is a marketer's nightmare. If you actually look at my thumbnails, my first few, I actually had 5 E's in my thumbnail rather than 4 for a good 6 months. So if I can't get it right, how is any brand or anything going to get it right? So yeah, that's why I changed it. I felt it was more professional, and yeah.
Nice.
Had I known, I would have had it from the start.
Well, I think it's really cool that you've been able to take yourself and make yourself into this, and maybe one day I'll switch over. But I feel like when I made Viking King, and the kids came up with it, actually, it was going to be an easy Google search, and we just kind of ran with it. So
I like it. You've got a big beard and stuff. Like,
I used to be down here. I had to chop it off, man, because I got, again, professionalism. Can't be at a child family team meeting with this. I guess you could, but well, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. I'm going to go ahead and let you get back to your boys. I know they're sleeping tight, dreaming well. You keep doing you, man, and we appreciate you for coming on Behind the Wheel.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Later, brother. Holy smokes, y'all. Was that cool or what? The man, 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀, Rory Alexander. Like, how many of y'all, raise your hand in your own house, started this because of Rory? I did. In a big way, he gave me the confidence of just, being able to like be myself. And when I first saw him and I first watched him, that was like, you don't got to have a gimmick. You don't got to have a mask. You don't got to have anything really catchy. You could be yourself. You could literally just use your own name, be yourself, hop on there and have some fun with folks. Just want to shout out to everybody who came out today. There's so many of you guys. The chat was fire. Obviously, one of the biggest episodes we've ever had. If you come back, and again, like he said, if you make it this far, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for participating and continuing to motivate me. I don't know what's next after this. I really don't know what's next. But I'm really excited to find out. Episode 15, 16, 17, all the way into 20s. I want to do some team episodes and maybe kind of, figure out what the mission's going to be behind it, man. But DMC, Brigsby, Papa, Conroy, Captain Morgan, High Octane, Sebastian, Venusaurus, LJ Sandwich, Cap, Papa's House of Games, Axe Machina, Captain Howdy, Eric, Portia, Hogston, Squeezy, Flippin', so many people, HOR, Moritz, Sebastian, Maris, Sheldo, so many of you guys that came in today. Thank you so much. Frank, Mr. T, I see you guys. Crawler, I made sure I got your shout out, Crawler. I had your back, bro. But everybody who's out there in YouTube land, thank you so much. It is my daughter's birthday, so I'm gonna go hang out, take her shopping, and do the dad thing as we were talking about. So for all you dads out there, keep dadding it. For everybody else, man, keep grinding hard, working on your craft. And until next time, y'all, Viking King is out.